this, right? Are you ready, honey? We gotta go.
Yeah.
We gotta start. Okay, hold on, let me see. All right, so everyone, thank you for coming to Overcoming Adversity by Maria Kang. Now, I'm glad that you guys are here. You come from different spectrums of life. You guys want to build your brand, you want to build a company, you want to lose weight, you want to overcome adversity. And I'm so happy you're here because I actually have a really good story that's going to help you understand kind of what I went through and also what you're probably going through somewhere in your life right now, because I believe that we all have a very similar story. You know, we all are born into this world. We all do what our parents expect us to do, and then we decide that, you know, we want to be happy and we want to follow our passion, right? And not only that, but we want to be in good health, okay? I like to say the word health versus shape or fit, because health really is a combination of body, mind, and spirit. And I think in this generation, we focus too much on the body, right? And not enough on the spirit and the mental well-being. So let me start here. I always believe that the right answers begin with the right questions. You always have to remember that you wake up every morning and you're telling yourself a story. And then you have things that are very hard to overcome, or problems or challenges, and you need to ask yourself the right questions to get the right answers, right? So I want you to think about this throughout this talk. The right answers begin with the right questions. So instead of saying, for example, you wake up and you're tired and you're stressed and you're overworked and you're depressed and you have a lot of kids or you have a lot of responsibilities, don't say, why is life so hard? Why is life so terrible? Why do I have all of these stresses in my life? You have to say, why do I have all of this responsibility? There must be a reason. There must be a purpose, okay? So you always have to remember that every action begins with a thought. And that thought usually has to stem from a good question, a positive question. So what is your story? What's your story? A lot of you guys woke up this morning and you have a story to tell, right? Your story is you decided to come to the Women's Expo. You decided that you wanted to become a better person somehow by meeting new people, by attending lectures. What's your story? Did you come from a place of you just graduated from college? Are you a mother? Are you growing older? Or do you want to start a business? Do you want to be in better shape? What's your story? What brought you here, right now? Because I believe everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, okay? There's no coincidences in life. There's a perfect timing for everything. And there is a reason why we are all here in this small setting together talking about purpose. So let me tell you about my story. Some of you guys know a little bit about it, but let me just go through it. That's me. That's in 1984. I'm guessing though. You know, I was born in 1980 actually. That means I'm 35 next month. And I was born in San Francisco by immigrant parents. My dad was born in Malaysia. My mom was actually from DC, so not technically immigrant parents. But they started with nothing. They met New Zealand. They moved to San Francisco, and they were on welfare. You know, they had 4 children before my mom was 22. You know, they struggled hard. I mean, I didn't really have much as a child, but you know what? I really didn't know that I didn't have much because I was taught valuable lessons. One of the biggest lessons I was taught is that God always provides, number one. I come from a Christian home. Now, whether you're a Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever it is, you have to believe in something. Okay, that's what I ultimately believe. You need to believe in something bigger than yourself, something that's kind of magically moving you through this life. So I grew up, I was very prayerful, and I always focused on what I had versus what I did not have. But you know, let me tell you about my parents. They're incredible. You know what? A lot of you are who your parents were or are. You know, if you wonder what your child's going to be, most often your child's going to be whatever you were, because they look at you as a role model. They will become and use you as an example to be someone that they want to become when they are older. And that's why it's important that you are a leader and a positive role model. So my parents, my dad, he worked very hard. He ended up becoming a sergeant with the police department. My mom worked for the state. Yeah, I think I'm getting ahead of myself, but yeah, that's me in 1984. Okay, this is a good picture. This is Mr. Glees in 1980. This is in 6th grade. This is in Franklin. That's when I was president of my elementary school. Remember I told you that? So let me tell you about adversity. You know, adversity comes early in life for some people. It's all how you see it, right? So when I was young, I never thought I had adversity. I never thought that not having a lot of toys, which I did notice a lot of my other friends had a lot of toys, or not being able to participate in sports because we didn't have the money or the resources. You know, I didn't know that it was not normal to not have the nicest and newest things. You know, I was always provided for, and that was what's most important. That's what I focused on. But you know, something happened when I was in 6th grade. You know, I think in 6th grade, how old are you, like 11? Mm-hmm. So something happened when I was 11. They said that they had student council elections coming up, and that anyone can run. And of course, I thought, man, I would love to be president. So I decided to create posters and put it all over school. I handed out flyers. I wrote an amazing speech. I gave a lot of promises, which I did keep. And I won. It was amazing. You know what happened at the same time that I won? It was on the loudspeaker, and they said, so the president of their elementary school is Maria Kang. And nobody clapped. Nobody said a thing. I was so shocked, because it's amazing when you're in a group of people, especially children, even adults. I think we're big children. When you kind of step outside the box and you're all of a sudden different. And people don't like that. And people don't like you. And I felt that for the very first time. I felt different. And I didn't like that feeling. So that was this is a very instrumental period in my life, because this is when I started realizing that the more I shined, the more different I became. In this year, I also was not only president, but I also won oral language fairs for my speech, Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. I competed in that. And I also was published for the very first time for one of my poems. So imagine that. I was a great, I spoke well, I wrote well, and I was a leader. And can you imagine all of those things kind of shining through at 11 years old? Think about when you were 11 years old, 10 years old, the things you enjoyed, the things that you noticed you're just really talented at. I don't want you to ever forget who you were, because you are still that person. And I'm still that little girl, just trying to make a difference. So here I am, we go forward. That's me on the far right. I graduated from UC Davis. I actually studied in Beijing, studying Chinese. I even partied a little bit in college. But you know what? I honestly don't party a lot. This is totally off track, but my friends always say, I've never seen you drunk, Maria. I was like, I don't like being drunk. And then, well, this is the reason why. And this goes back to when you have a business and you want to do things and you want to lose weight. You just want to be productive. Okay? The worst thing to do is wake up the next day and not be able to be productive because you have a hangover, right? Anyways, so let me tell you about my story. I decided that I was going to do everything that everyone said was the right thing to do. Raise your hand if you have ever done that. You did something because you knew it was what the media wanted, what your parents wanted, what your teachers wanted. That's what I did. So I became a beauty queen. My mom signed me up for the first Miss Sacramento, Philippines. No, Miss Philippines, Sacramento. I went to Canada to represent Sacramento. I won there. I went to Texas to represent the Philippines, and I won there. I just kept winning. I mean, it was awesome though. I loved it, you know? But at the same time, in this process, to be very honest, I started to lose myself. Because I started, very young. I was in 6th grade, did all my presidency in high school as a cheerleader. Went to college like a good girl, and competed and won beauty pageants. But after gaining a lot of success, I realized that I was not happy. Isn't that crazy? Because that's what they teach you, right? They teach you that if you have the right body, if you have the right amount of money, that if you have a certain degree, that you're going to be happy. It's incredible when you realize that you're not. And this is where my story begins. I actually went on to win Miss Bikini California. That's me, like maybe 15 pounds ago, like if I was lighter. It was interesting, you know, competing in fitness, and this is a little sidetrack too. You know, I always say that we focus so much on the body and not so much on our mental and our physical health. This is an example of that, and this, you know, to be very honest, most people in the health fitness industry are not very healthy. Okay, and I stood up there and I looked the part, but I was not healthy. So here's me in 2007. I obviously, if you look at that, I had gained the weight, right? So like I said, this is where my story begins. When I competed in Miss Bikini California, something changed in me, okay? I actually went to nationals, competed against over 70 women, placed top 5 in 2 competitions. I was in LA, and I was scheduled to do a couple photo shoots. And while I was waiting, I saw the women in the pool doing their photo shoots, and they had very provocative poses. You know what I'm talking about, okay? And you see this a lot if you're on Instagram. You see a lot of butt shots, a lot of sexy shots, a lot of whatever the media wants. And I realized, man, I worked so hard for this physique, and I'm selling myself. I'm selling myself. I'm selling my soul, really. So I decided to walk away that day from the shoot. I didn't show up to my call time. I drove all the way home, 5 hours, crying. I was in shock. I was in shock for various reasons. Number one, I was shocked because, wow, this is what I was working for all these, you know, years, is to use my body as a tool and to not really know who I was. But also I was shocked because, like I said, I wasn't happy, right? I wasn't happy. So I ended up having an eating disorder. And it was that eating disorder where you throw up after you eat. And it was 2 to 3 times a day, 3 to 4 times a week. It was bad. And I struggled with an eating disorder for over 3 years. And it was hell. Let me tell you about an eating disorder. It's an addiction. It's an addiction to food, and an addiction to the chemicals in your body that's produced whenever you throw up. Let's not talk about throwing up. Some people know on the way here my son threw up, and it was like, it was tough getting here to talk about overcoming adversity. But you know, I'm sure all of you have experienced throwing up in your life. Don't you feel good after it? Whatever, no, seriously, when it's building up in your stomach and then you let it go, and all of a sudden you just feel so much better that it's out of you. That's how I felt. I had anxiety. I had major anxiety attacks. And when I had anxiety attacks, I would eat. And I would eat. And it was like I was manifesting what I was feeling inside, which was emptiness. I felt empty. I had everything, but I had nothing. Okay? So I manifested that emptiness. And I ended up gaining 30 pounds. So that's me in 2007. But guess what, you guys? You see that smile on my face? I was happy. You know why I was happy? Because I was in recovery. I wasn't throwing up that time, okay? My body was a little bit more voluptuous, but that's okay, because health is not how you look like. Health is how you feel. It's how your soul feels, how your mind feels, how your body feels. And at that time, I felt good. I was eating well, I was exercising, but my body was damaged. My metabolism was damaged. It wasn't responding to me anymore. So this goes back to your weight loss, for those of you who are here for weight loss. Don't expect your body to respond to you if you are not treating it well. If you are not eating at breakfast every morning, if you're not drinking enough water, if you're not training it on a daily basis, if you're not having a routine with your body every single day and loving it with good thoughts and good actions, it's not going to respond to you. So I actually was doing good things to my body at this point. However, a couple years earlier, I was not. And this was the residual of that. People fail because they are too comfortable in their identities. If you keep saying you're unmotivated because you're tired, depressed, busy, or stressed, then you will seek to support your claims. Remember that, okay? When you wake up in the morning and you decide that this is who I am, you will find people who are just like you. All energies resonate for some reason. And you know what? I'm so happy because we're all here in this room and we're all resonating. We're all here because we want to become better people, right? We want to be healthier. We want to learn more. We're positive. At least I hope we are. I am. So what is your bliss? What's your bliss? Let me tell you about bliss, that word bliss. Okay. I, in my 20s, right before that picture was taken in 2007, I realized that fitness was my passion. Fitness was my passion because I grew up with a mother who was very overweight. She struggled with diabetes in her 20s, strokes in her 30s. I saw my mom have a stroke. Heart attacks in her 40s, and a kidney transplant before she turned 50, and she's still alive today. So I decided in my 20s, after I graduated from UC Davis, that I was going to work in the fitness industry because as Confucius says, and I'm a big philosophy person, he always says if you find what you love to do, you won't have to work a day in your life. It is so true. I don't feel, honestly, I work a lot, but I don't work. I love what I do. So I decided to make fitness my passion, and I became a fitness manager. And but then I didn't like my boss. You know how it is when you don't like the people you work with. It's terrible. It's terrible when you're working for someone and you don't want to make them money because you know what your value is, and you're like, I don't want to be here. So that's what happened to me. I quit my job at that private studio, and I sent out my resume and my cover letter to the biggest CEOs in the fitness industry. Yeah, isn't that crazy? And I photocopied anything written about me at the time, which is mostly pageants. And I got a call back, and it was the CEO of 24 Hour Fitness. Yeah, that was the biggest gym at the time. And one of the things the vice president of fitness asked me, because I interviewed with 2 people, he asked me, Maria, what is your bliss? I had no idea. Here I am. I had the opportunity to talk to one of the biggest people in the industry, and he asked me a question that I had no answer to. What is your bliss? Do you guys know what your bliss is? What's your bliss?
Life.
Life. What makes you happy? What is your passion? Yeah.
To help others.
To help others. But what is it about you that God gave that is unique and special and just beyond what other people can do?
I think the gift of having that interaction and that response from others. I work with children and youth at risk.
Yes.
And I see that, and I use my background, coming from a different country and with challenges and struggles, and I use that, and I didn't know until I discovered that I had to use that to my advantage. And I have that connection. So once you have that connection, like you said, you feel like you're not working, you're just doing what you love.
Yes, I love that. I love that because some people here are communicators. Some people are connectors. Okay, so figure out what you are uniquely talented with, because there's something that you do uniquely better than the person next to you. And you know this because when you were 10 years old, you found your strength, and somewhere along that line, you lost it. In the busyness of life, you lost it. So that's my mama. That's her, I think it was last year. It was not her birthday, it was something else. That's my beautiful mama, Caroline. It's amazing what your mother, if your daughter is here, you know what a big impact your mother makes in your life. And when I was in my 20s, I actually wrote a letter, like a 6-page letter to her at 3 a.m. at night in San Francisco when I was living there, and I was just crying. And I realized that everything that I had become at that point was because of my mom. She had us so early in life, I felt guilty. I became a little mommy growing up to my siblings. I became over-responsible. I became everything she couldn't be because of me, because she had us. And then at the same time, I realized, wow, I'm who my mom wanted to be, but not who I wanted to be, right? So this is a great picture. This is actually the picture of my father-in-law, who I met for the 2nd time on my wedding day. And you can see that I'm crying because my mother didn't make it to my wedding day. How many of you guys are married in here? You know your wedding day is humongous, right? You spend so much on your wedding. Not that I did. I didn't really spend that much, I have to say. I don't like to spend too much money on stuff, but it's the biggest day of your life. Actually, my husband and I waited a couple years to get married because he was married prior, and we were waiting for a Catholic annulment. So my mother, the day of my wedding, I get a phone call that she is in the ER. And then I hear hours later that she won't be able to make it. And that my dad would come, but he would only walk me down the aisle and he would have to leave. My mom was in septic shock. She had, like I said, she had a kidney failure, kidney transplant maybe 2 years prior. So she is very susceptible to infections. So she had an infection, she didn't take care of it. When I saw her for the first time, she was on a ventilator. It was bad. But it was the best and the saddest day of my life. Oh, there's me at 24 Fitness. I just wanted to show you a picture. That's the only picture I have of me in 2001. And that's me in San Francisco. It's actually, those of you who don't know yet, I do have a website that I created in 2005. It's mariakang.com, and I highly suggest going to that website. I changed it a little bit. Go to the journals. I've journaled my life and my journey since 2005, and the reason why I started in 2005 is because I was actually battling an eating disorder at that time. And I've always believed that in order to recover from things, you need to let it go. You need to take it out of you. You need to put it on paper. You need to be creative about it. You need to work out. You need to write it on paper. You need to let someone know. You need to get it out of you. And so that's what I did. I really utilized my website to not only write out my thoughts, but also connect with others. Because when you're not strong, you need other people that are stronger. We need each other. As much as we believe that we can do everything ourselves, we need each other. So I created a nonprofit when I came home in 2007. I created Fitness Without Borders. I decided to leave 24 Fitness, come home because my mom was dealing with kidney failure, and create a nonprofit. We do several programs in schools. We've done middle school, before school, middle school programs. I keep saying that because there's too many schools. And we've done after school, high school clubs. And now we have No Excuse Mom groups. Raise your hand if you heard of a No Excuse Mom group. Yay! So this is the first one, created in 2009. I realized after I had my first child that I didn't have any friends that were moms, that were at least moms, right? Like I said, you need each other. And that's what I think with moms, we feel so isolated from each other. So I decided to create a group and work out at the park for free with other people. And that's how I made friends. And that's how I learned about diapering better and, weaning your baby off of your breast. I mean, all of that stuff, we learn from each other. We need each other. It's all about community. Every day you must remind yourself that this new journey is not something you have to do, but something you want to do. Remember that. So much of my life is everything that I don't want to do. Like this morning, I didn't want to eat egg whites and oatmeal. I didn't. I wanted a donut. I saw a donut at my friend's house on the way here. I'm like, I just want that donut. But you know what? Discipline is doing what you don't want to do. That means training when you don't want to train, means sleeping when you don't want to sleep, drinking water when you want to have a glass of wine, okay? So much of your success is discipline. So what is your mantra? What is your mantra? We talked about bliss. These are all good questions, right? Let me tell you something. When you answer all these questions, you're going to have a better understanding of yourself by the end of the day. So what is your mantra? What do you believe in? Oh, I had to go into this. This is my husband right there in the back of the room. There he is in the blue. He said, that's my husband. That's probably it's 2005. He was a private security contractor in Iraq. He was a Marine for 8 years. But guess what? He had a brain injury. He was in a car bomb. He has had 7 brain surgeries. He has a traumatic brain injury. How would you feel if half your head was gone? Well, he found me. It was worth it, right? I'm just kidding. You know what? My husband, when I first met him, he was an injured Marine, okay? He was a divorced father. We met online on MySpace. Isn't that crazy? It was 2007. I just started my nonprofit, and I was deciding to network with other people, and there he was. And I looked at his page. I didn't see if he was single. I didn't see if he was, I didn't look at his pictures, but I did subscribe to his writings because he was an incredible poet. And one day, a couple weeks later, he started commenting on my stuff. I'm like, who is this guy? Well, that's the guy. So that's him. That's us in our earliest memories together. We traveled a lot before kids. And then we gave birth unexpectedly. This is talking about adversity, right? This woman right here has followed all of the rules in life. I did everything the way I was supposed to. But man, when I found out I was unexpectedly pregnant and I was Catholic, I am Catholic, can you imagine what I went through? I was depressed the entire pregnancy. I left my job at 24-Hour Fitness. I didn't have an income. My husband has a traumatic brain injury. Oh, he wasn't even my husband yet, so I was unmarried. It made it even worse. It was hard. In 2009, I had no idea what was gonna happen. I said, man, I followed my passion, followed my bliss. I said fitness was the thing, blah, blah, blah. I married a man that I knew that was not like picture perfect, but I knew that it was the right man for me. I had no idea what my life would be like. But you know what I did in 2009? I wrote down what I wanted to be in 5 years. That's what you gotta do. When you are stressed, depressed, sad, you need to put down on paper your dreams, and then you gotta work backwards. And I said, in 5 years, I wanna write a book. I wanna be a fitness icon. I mean, I thought big, right? I wanna be on the cover of a magazine, stuff like that. I wanna be a business owner. I wanna make a certain amount of money. I wrote down, and I started making lists of things to do every single day. Guess what? I gave birth in 2010. Unexpectedly. But you know what? After we got married, I actually planned this little kid right here, 2011, who also was the one that gave me trouble this morning. So here we are, Tess here. She's actually still alive. She's 102. And I'm actually have care homes in the Sacramento area, in Greenhaven, Outborough. So let me know if you ever have questions on the elderly care. I have businesses. I have a thriving nonprofit. I have kids. I'm fit. Excuses validate our choices. They let us off the hook and give us permission to fail. Okay, that's a good one. So what is your excuse? I set you guys up. You see that? I set you up. What's your excuse? You know what you want. What's holding you back? Is it because you don't have a mentor? It's because you don't know how to? Is it because your kids? What is it? What's your excuse? Hello? I'm the no excuse mom. You can't mess with me. Anyone see this picture before? Yeah. It was a humongous picture. Oh my God, it was viewed 16 million times on Facebook. And then I was on CNN, I was on Yahoo, I was on Good Day Sacramento, Good Morning America, Today's Show, everywhere. Everyone wanted to talk to me about this thing that I created. And you know why I created this? I created this because I was depressed. I was overweight. I had an eating disorder. I gave birth 3 times in a row. I did nurse my kids. I am a working mom. I was able to do all that, and I was able to maintain good health. So, yeah, thank you. So what's your excuse? If I can do it, so can you. It was never meant to say, what's your excuse for not looking like me? Because nobody can look like each other, right? So then I created a campaign of people. People that were, wow, they were able to do that. That's what you need to do. Not only should you connect with others, you should connect with others that are like you, who have overcome adversity, that you can look up to. Look at this. Amazing. I met this little lady at the gym. She was like, can you take my picture? I said, why'd you ask me? Because you know I can take some good selfies? And she's like, no, because today's my anniversary of losing 100 pounds. Took her a year. Look at her, in a wheelchair. I know all of you guys can walk right now. There's no excuse why you can't work out. This little lady can work out. How about this guy? This guy suffers from depression, cerebral palsy. Competed in a bodybuilding contest. Incredible people. Look at that, they're so cute. No more excuses everywhere. You know what? Ever since that message went viral, I was able to create, remember that little mom group that I created in 2009? Because I had no friends? Mom friends, I have to correct myself. Now we have over 300 no excuse mom groups in 25 countries. Can I get a round of applause for that? And guess what? You know what? Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. It's all about how you see things, right? And it's incredible. The only thing regrets do is settle into your soul and make you feel shame. Yet there's nothing shameful about that struggle. Remember that. I've never intended for anyone to feel shame. You should never feel shame. The only one who can make you feel that is you, right? But even if you're an unwed mother, even though you're 100 pounds overweight, even though you're unemployed, you can overcome. There's no shame in that struggle. In fact, it makes for a really good story, right? That's what I always tell myself. This is gonna be a really good story one day. So what next? Oh, so this is the branding. So what next, you guys? They're waving at me. They're like, you're done. You're done. Okay, what next? Any questions, you guys? Any questions? Let me tell you about something real quick that I have so far. I know that you guys asked about weight loss, okay? I did write a book. It is in Barnes. I didn't have it today. I'm so sorry. But I do have a belly ball. Can you grab that, honey? So the belly ball actually is something that I created. It is something I do on a daily basis. This belly ball is, I massage my belly every day. And the reason why I do that is because after you give birth, who are mothers here? You remember when the nurse came into the room and like massaged your uterus? So I took the ball and I massaged my uterus, continued massaging it when I went home. So I used it not just to massage my uterus, but also to help with bloating, because I get bloated a lot and constipated. This is all terrible stuff to say out loud, but this is true, and it helps to stimulate the area. So I do have my belly balls here just to let you know, and it does come with 3 workouts. The way I do my workouts is different. If you ever come to Elk Grove on Wednesday at 10 a.m., I give free workouts at the park. So just join, go to noexcusemom.com and go in the locations and put in the zip code and you'll see it. But there's free workouts everywhere. So this box, I just can't, it's so pretty, isn't it? I actually got it made in China, and this is the DVD. And it comes with the massage, and it comes with 3 different workouts. So this is the belly ball, and it actually goes with an ebook. That's a little bit different from the book that you would see on Barnes & Noble. So going back to, I have such limited time. I have so much to say. This is terrible. You're done. Yeah. You're done. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, you guys. Yes.
Who was the teacher? You saw him.
Oh, that was one of my mentors, Mr. Gleaves. Okay. He was awesome. So anyways, you guys, I hope you learned a little bit more about asking the right questions to get the right answers, okay? Tonight, I want you to go home. I want you to make your 5-year goals. That's your homework. I want you to figure out what your bliss is, what your mantra is, and what your excuse is, okay? And find your passion. Thank you very much.
Thank you.